Hey, welcome to another episode. Now, I'm doing this one quite differently. And what I mean by that is there's no guest. I'm not just teaching you something specific. I'm mostly going to be kind of doing a recap on a lot of the questions that I get repeatedly through either, my email series, through there, or through Instagram, Facebook Messenger, or even just individual clients as you're starting out and learning this process. And so I just wanted to do kind of a Q&A and answer as much of the stuff that you may be struggling with yourself, or just a refresher could do a bunch of good and help you ingrain some of this stuff in there. Cause hey, that's how we all learn it. Like, I'm a slow learner, you guys. It takes me repeating something over and over and over again to get it. So you've got a lot of other things going on in your life. It's easy to look at, fitness professionals and all these people that seem like they have it going on, but they may not have the same level of stress, the kids, the work going on that you do. So, definitely don't compare. I'll always beat that drum as strong as I possibly can, because that's something I think we always need to hear, especially in this age of social media. It's a wonderful thing, but man, we gotta remind ourselves. So I digress. But the first thing I want to cover is your baseline with anything that you're trying to achieve is adherence. Like, what can you be consistent with? And what I like to teach clients is decreasing the threat, because so often we'll go out and we'll be like, all right, I'm going to really be driven this time, stay consistent. I finally got the motivational bug. And you're doing great until something happens in your environment, something that triggers you, something that sends you off the rails for stress. Somebody brings something into the office, or your spouse brings something home, and it's just downhill from there. And you're like, why did they sabotage me? And we blame outside of ourselves, or we shame inside of ourselves and say, damn, why don't I have the strength, the courage, or the ability to stand up to them, or to hold my ground, the willpower? I'm just weak. And then we end up in this just negative head spiral space. And that's a challenge, right? And so we have to be able to decrease the threat. Decrease the threat with what it is you're trying to achieve to the minimal effective dose that you could adhere with. And so, for instance, I had a client and we were just trying to get her to the gym. I mean, when she was like first signed up, she's like, yeah, I want to go 3 days a week. No big deal. I'm going to take off and do this. And I was like, great. Okay, cool. Here's a training plan. Here's all the videos, reach out and let me know how it goes. I reach out because I didn't hear anything after the first workout, because I can see everything that they do or don't do. And all of a sudden I'm like, nothing's being tracked. How did it go? And she's like, I didn't make it. Slept in. Hey, it happens. No worries. Right. I like to pride myself on being the king of support and empathy, but when it needs time to drop the hammer on accountability, it's there, right? So next few days go by, same thing. And I'm like, all right, well, what's going on? Like, talk to me, like, what's really happening? And it took us multiple questions to get to the root, the fact that she was terrified of the gym. There was this gym intimidation, and it's a real thing. And so we decreased the threat. I said, hey, it's all good. Can you work out at home to kind of build up some strength and some stamina? And then when we do go back, we'll put you just on machines for right now, like just the big block machines. It's okay. Start from where you're at, get the momentum, get the win, build the confidence, and then from there we can expand, right? So we started an at-home program. She was doing really well and was finally ready. She's like, yeah, I'm going to go do it, right? So we could actually incorporate more than just body weight and resistance bands. She didn't want to have a whole house full of stuff and whatnot. So slowly worked up to that, went to the gym and turned around. And she was like, you're going to be disappointed in me. And what? Disappointed in you? I was like, you went to the gym. That's all we agreed upon, right? We didn't say you had to go do X, Y, and Z inside the gym. We had built it up, right? And so then she did that 2 more times. Second time, she actually went into the locker room. Third time, she went into the locker room, peed. Good for her, right? And then actually weighed herself on the scale to see if it was the same as the one at home. She was pleasantly surprised. It was actually a little bit more accurate and trending in the right direction. We're working on nutrition. And then she went out because she was motivated by that, and she just walked on the treadmill for 5 minutes. Well, that's 4 months ago now. 5 months ago? Where are we at? Well, I'm recording this June 11th, so 5 months ago now. And yeah, she's in the gym 3 times a week, like in the weight section with a bunch of grunting, sweaty guys, like doesn't matter. Like there's no fear anymore. It just took a process. And so you have to decrease the threat sometimes to meet you where you're at with whatever it is. When it's coming to nutrition, like if you need to decrease the threat so that you actually just can stick with, eating one meal that feels like it's on track for you, then do that and give yourself permission to not even track, not even worry about the rest of the meals. And so figuring out where you can adhere so that you can stay consistent is going to be far better than trying to psych yourself up, starting to put in insane amounts of accountability, trying to cut everything out, isolating yourself, blocking stuff off. Like, I've been that guy where I'm like, I can't go to this restaurant, like where it was actually my birthday. And, my wife made this decadent, amazing cake. And then, it was for a photo shoot, and it was definitely worth it. Single digit body fat. And it was something I wanted to do, and it chose to put myself through, and it was a one-time experience. And now I'm pleasantly happy with my 12-13% body fat, and I'm not on the dad bod spectrum, thankfully. You can still see a little abs, but oh shit, ego's kicking in right there. What was that about? I digress again, you guys. Now you know me, right? But at least I can catch it, so show myself some empathy for that. Hopefully you're laughing with me, because that is hilarious. But here's the thing, right? I've been that guy where it was like, no cake for me. I think I had pretty much starved myself all day, just eating protein. And I allowed myself a little tiny bit. And then it was like, oh my gosh, and I got to do extra cardio in the morning. Like, it's just a miserable place to be. And, family didn't enjoy it either, right? So it's just not a positive experience. So what can you adhere to, and where are you meeting yourself at that's still from a positive place? And so the way that I look at it, right, when we're looking at building up habits, I want to run through the statistics first, and then I'm gonna kind of walk you through my suggestion on how to do it. That seems to have worked extremely well for the last 6 years with over 400 plus clients between the gym that I owned and now with all my nutrition clients. But the first thing is acknowledging that there was an amazing study done, and they gave people 3 habits to initiate. They had to do 3 separate things. And the dentist example is the simplest one. So someone comes in, their teeth are just absolutely rotting. They're horrible. And they're told that they have to brush, they have to floss, and they have to gargle. They have to add 3 things in. And it's someone who has never actually done any of that, which is why their teeth are rotting out, right? The chance of them actually being successful are less than 10% with any of those habits. And that's just 3 simple things. And there are even things that can be stacked together and associate together and happen in a small, tiny little window of time. But for every 1 habit, we usually have to add about 10 to make that single habit happen. So let's look at this, right? If you're saying like, all right, I'm going to get up and work out in the morning, it's going to be my new routine, I got this. Yeah, that's just 1 habit. But ultimately, to do that, you've got to wake up earlier, which means you don't have the time to do stuff that you used to have in the morning. So you got to prep your food probably for the day, the night before, which means you don't have as much time with the kids. So you got to prep their food earlier, which means you got to help them get their homework done earlier, which means you actually have to get them home from school a little bit earlier so that you have to leave earlier from the work so that you can, it's 10 little things, but they're actually 10 huge things to accomplish 1 45-minute workout in the morning. Right? You got to lay out your clothes. It's just a mess. And so if you're trying to actually make that an everyday thing, now you've just compiled all of that, minus the sleep, minus all this kind of stuff. And now you're trying to add in nutrition. It's really hard, right? Unless you've pre-programmed yourself with one of those habits in the past, and it's just literally flipping on that light switch and going back to that, and it served you well, and it was just for a season of life you had to stop, the chances of you sticking with it are less than 10%. And that's just 3 simple habits, let alone exercise, fitness, nutrition, all this kind of stuff. Now, if we're doing 2, so you're like, all right, Joseph, well, I'm still an overachiever, so I'm going to do 2 habits at a time. It's less than 35%, my friend. So if you're trying to brush your teeth and floss and you've never done it before, that's what the doctor's telling you, yikes, you're still going to have less than 35% chance of success. But if you do 1 habit, you've got about an 85+% chance of success, 85%. And if you allow that to actually solidify and build for a minimum of 2 weeks to get some momentum with it, whatever it may be, and we'll talk through it with nutrition, but your chances of being able to get it to stick to go on to the next one are just going to skyrocket through. Now, some people say oh, it takes 21 days to build a habit. Well, that's been disproven. And then some people say 66 days, and there's a lot to that with the whole repetition on a daily thing. But ultimately, it comes down to a few things. One is frequency. How frequently are you doing this habit? Is it something that you're doing 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day, right? It's going to build a lot faster and become a part of your daily ritual and your rhythm if it's something you're doing every single day. But if it's something that you're having to only do once a week, it may take longer than those 66 days. It may take longer than 90 days. And honestly, because it's the neural pathways that are inside of our brains that shape habits, right? They're the patterns that are forming. They're kind of like freeways or, car lanes, so to speak, right? It's the neurons that fire together, wire together, right? That's Hebb's law. Neurons that fire together, wire together. And so it's these synapses that are happening in our brain anytime we're trying to build a habit. Make something just conditional that we just automatically get up and do it, no matter our thoughts, feelings, and emotions that are trying to pull us in the other way, right? That's how meditation and fitness have thankfully become for me because of the years and years of conditioning myself to do that. But it's got to happen, right? Repeatedly for a very long time to be able to do that. And even so, right? So it starts out, it's just a little bitty connection. It's like a little back street. You can squeeze your car through it, but you don't really want to drive through it. And it's driving through the ghetto. So it's not even any easier. It's like me having to drive to high school all over again, where I was like, oh man, not looking forward to this every single day. Right. And then high school was actually even worse once I got there. So for all my alumni, John Muir High School, I know you're nodding your head and kind of laughing about this too with me. Hey, but we survived, my friends. So digression number, 4, 5 on this one, but we're still rolling. So these neuron pathways, the more you do it, the more it's going to increase, right? So eventually it could be like a freeway, but that freeway may be the one that you've had for so long with overeating, overindulging, not working out, these other programmed patterns that you've had in your life. But the nice thing is, if you're rewriting this script, your story, the person that you deserve to become, you want to become, you're willing to put in the work, the effort, that neuron pathway is growing to become a freeway, because it's casting votes for the person that you are, and you are just building and laying that foundation, or repeat it. Well, then the other freeway, it was a freeway, is slowly going to decrease the number of lanes. But the thing is, like neurons that fire together, wire together. So it's forever there. You, in the middle of stress, in the middle of the hardest time, will want to regress to your lowest level of training, which may be that sit on the couch, not do anything, overeat, feel sorry for myself, right? Make myself feel sick, and repeat that cycle. And it's going to take some conditioning. So that's why when people say, like, how long does it take to build a habit? Well, to build it, it's all about frequency. And it could take right around that 66 days if it's a daily habit. But to maintain it takes a lifetime. The only end, right, is death, my friends. So it's kind of like when people set out to do these like short-term fitness journeys, there's a reason I only run programs that are like 90 days at the shortest, because I want to make sure I'm building as many lifelong habits as possible. And in 90 days, in 3 months, there's going to be some kind of life setback. There's going to be something that happens, and then boom, that's when we really go to work. It's easy to do things when it's all cookie and good. I don't know what all cookie means, but when it's all sweet and sugary and delicious, I guess. Although we should be talking about brownies if we do that. Man, I love brownies. Excuse me, I had to drink a sip of coffee there. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's got to be something that you can decrease the threat, so you know that you can do it on a consistent basis and get the win. And when it comes to nutrition, ultimately the baseline is we have to be in a caloric deficit to lose weight, right? And you can create that caloric deficit in a number of different ways, but ultimately I recommend focusing more than anything else on getting your protein up first. Most people don't eat nearly enough protein. If you're looking at it, it's palm size at minimum per meal, per serving, right? And that's 20 grams. But you want between 0.8 and 1.1 grams per pound of body weight. And that was one of the other questions. Someone was asking me all about protein. And so I was just kind of working this into the conversation here today, right? And so if anything, I would focus on just getting your protein up, going for the increase. Because so often when we're focusing on nutrition, it's easy to want to decrease something, to eliminate something. But as humans, we don't like anything to be taken away from us. We just don't. We will fight and hang on to anything that we possibly can, especially our stories and our limiting beliefs. And so what we want to do is just give ourselves a chance to increase. So I challenge you, instead of just decreasing, cutting calories first, right? Get the easy habit win and increase your protein and look for ways to bump that up, even if it's just for 2 weeks, right? And you'll be like, but I'm really motivated. I really want to lose weight. I get that. But it's probably didn't take you 2 weeks to put it on. And it probably didn't even take you a year to put on. And it's probably 2 to 5 pounds over the last several years, every single year. And that's why you're feeling stuck with where you're at. because that's the norm, right? 2+ pounds a year for the average American is what we increase in size. So all of a sudden most of my clients are in their 40s and 50s. All of a sudden you're like 45 years old and you've had this pattern for the last 20 years and you're sitting with an extra 45, 50 pounds. You're like, damn, how did this happen? Right? Well, that's how it's happened, my friend. It slowly creeped on. And so we can go another 2 weeks and build this habit, at least start this process with the one that matters the most. And then from there, if you need to add another thing before you take away, add water or add veggies and start to get that win by compiling it on top, right? And it's this compilation when everything gets in there that all of a sudden other things have to start dropping off. And that's kind of the nice thing. So you're putting all this emphasis on getting enough protein. Then you're putting all this emphasis on getting enough water. So you're finally hydrated. 66% of Americans are dehydrated at all points in time, my friends. Like this is not good. So if you're not drinking half your body weight in water, man, maybe that's a huge win right there. And, so now you got the protein, so you're feeling fuller, right? Your body is repairing itself so much better, especially if you're training and you're working out. And your water is hydrating you. So your body is now able to function at a better level. Your brain's probably working better. Your sleep's probably getting a little bit better. And we increase the veggies. So we get some vitamins and nutrients that we absolutely need, like all those micros, like may make a huge difference. And so now all of a sudden your body's going, thank you, vitamin A, vitamin K, my vitamin B's, like this is really good. Your immune system starts to feel better. And let alone you get all this extra good fiber in your system so that it's starting to flush you out, right? And you're like, all I'm focusing on is these three main things right now. And I'm starting to feel a change in my body. Is the scale like going crazy in one direction yet? No. But is it going? Yes. And that's what we want to get. So sometimes you have to decrease the threat to that little level, right? Now the second part of this. So it's great. It's great. You're like, all right, cool. I'm going to just focus on protein. That's what I want to do. So now what I need you to do is I need you to set intentions. I need you to set the intention, but actually write it down. Now, if you're driving, save this for later, of course. But if you write it down, your chances of actually sticking to it and following through, and this applies to anything, will spike. So let's look at this, right? There's a study done, and they surveyed just over 300 people, and they told them, all of them, right, that they divide them into three groups, 100, 100, 100. It was like 120 something. It was like, because I think it was like 380 people. I don't remember the exact number, so forgive me. But the first group was told that they had to work out 3 times a week for 2 solid weeks, 20 minutes a workout. That's all they were told to participate in the study, right? Group number 2 was told the exact same thing. You have to work out 3 times a week for 2 weeks, 20 minutes a workout. And then they gave them all of the amazing health benefits that working out will do for their body. They just ran through the list of like, does this, it helps you with this. It's going to, help you with this. And then they ran through the potential demise of not working out, which, man, if you really think about it, it's kind of a lot. So you're not going to, potentially live as long, and the life that you do live may not be as enjoyable because you got all these issues, right? And then group number 3 was told you need to work out 3 times a week for 2 weeks, 20 minutes a pop. And with that, right, all we need you to do is write down, I will, your intention, so whatever your workout is, at, and then time, whatever the time that you're going to work out, at the location, wherever you're going to work out. So they simply had to write down for their entire time where they were going to work out and what time they were going to work out, what they were going to do. Simple as that. Now, group number 1, who was just told to work out, they had a 32% success rate. 32%. All they had to work out was 6 total times. Not very challenging, my friends, right? And yet, only 32%. So pretty low. Now, group number 2, group number 2 was told like all the reasons they should do it and all the reasons that that they definitely need to start working out. Otherwise, you're going to like basically die. I'm just cutting to the chase. We all will, but man, we want to enjoy it along the way. They had 38% success rate. So it's not much better. Not even 40%. Not even 40% of them could actually, follow that 3 times a week for 2 weeks. It's just 2 weeks. It's not like I'm asking for 6 months. And then group number 3, who just had to write it down, I will, what they were going to do, where they were going to do it, and the time that they were going to do it, had a 92% success rate. Yeah, it was like 91.8. Crazy difference, my friends, between 32% and basically 92%. So think about this. If you are struggling to be consistent with something, maybe you need to actually write it down and make a true commitment, not just one inside your head. All right. So I will X at X and X. As simple as that. That's what I want you to rock with. That's what I want you to go with. That's where we're stopping for now. I'll be back with more for you guys. And we'll be talking carbs and fats and all that other juiciness in just a sec. All right, my friend, that concludes another great episode. And I wanted to say thank you. Thank you for going on this journey with me, going down this path as you and I continue to explore and uncover the truth of what it takes to completely transform. And now you've got 2 assignments. And the first one is it's really important that you take action on one thing that you heard from today's message. It's important to take the education with a little bit of implementation so that you can yield the results to go from good to great, to go from ordinary to extraordinary, to go from your everyday norm to a place where you can completely transform. And the second thing that I need you to do is share this message, because there's a friend, a coworker, a loved one out there that needs to hear a piece of this. And it's what they are waiting for to help them radically shift the way that they've been living life and start to explore their true potential, for them to get unstuck. And so I need you to screenshot this, tag me on social media, or share or write a review or whatever it is you know is going to get this message out to the right person at the right time so that they can live the best life possible. Because that's our goal. That is our goal. You and me, to be able to share the best messages that we possibly can and impact a great number of lives. So as always, I appreciate you. Coach Joseph Hawthorne, Truth of Transformation. Peace be the journey.